chill and fog-choked Christmas Eve. This day was to be different. "Mister!" cried the boy, wiping his nose on the back of his hand. The old man flinched but did not turn. His black-coated back bent over as though heading into a strong wind. The silver tip of his cane tick-tick-ticking on the paving slabs as he hurried along. Tick-tick-tick, time is money. The boy sped up and pulled his sister along in his wake. "Mister!" This time the boy emphasized his cry with a tug on the old man's coat-tail. This had an immediate effect. The old man skidded in his tracks and turned round with a ferocious look on his face, a look that might have made another faint. The children were well used to such expressions. They stopped, but kept their distance. "What do you want?" hissed the old man, his muffler pulled up to his bottom lip, his hat jammed down onto his furrowed brow, so that his white eyebrows curled around the black brim. His eyes were ice blue. "Please, sir," said the boy, "we wondered, as it's Christmas Eve and all, if you might see your way to giving us a few coins, sir. Only we—" "Oh, you did you?" said the man, narrowing his eyes still further, their reddened rims the only warm colour in his deathly face. "You thought as it was Christmas Eve and the season of goodwill, you'd rob me, did you?" "We ain't robbing no one," said the boy. "We're asking, is all. A few coins. That ain't a crime, is it?" The old man raised his cane and bared his crooked yellow teeth. "Get away from me, or I'll call a constable," he cried. "Maybe I'll give you a thrashing before he arrives." The boy and girl ran, clattering around a corner into an alleyway, where the boy grabbed his sister and turned to peer at the old man, a vague smudge now in the fog as he climbed the 3 stone stairs to his office, opened the black door, and slammed it behind him. The violence of that slam seemed to shake the street, and it dislodged a great icicle from the roof, which dropped like an arrow to shatter on the pavement below. The snow of the week before had thawed from most of the roofs on the street, but clearly the old man's office was a few degrees colder than the houses on either side. In any event, what had thawed was now speedily refreezing. The slamming door seemed likewise to dislodge something in the boy's mind. It was not the old man's refusal to give them money, nor his threat to call a constable, both were common enough occurrences. No, it was the look in the old man's eye, that look of cold contempt. It had pierced the boy to the bone. He walked back and stood in a patch of waste ground opposite the old man's office, staring malevolently. "Sam," said his sister, walking up behind him, "let's go. I'm cold." "Go where?" he hissed without taking his eyes from the shining black door. "What does it matter where we go, Lizzie? We'll be as cold there as here." She tugged at his arm and he shrugged her away. "No one's making you stay," he said. "Go if you want to." Lizzie turned and began to walk, slipping and sliding on the ice and slush. Her boots were so ragged and oversized, it would have been a comic sight were her arms not so very thin, her face so pale and gaunt, and her eyes so sunken and terribly lacking in any of life's sparkle. "Wait!" said Sam with an angry sigh, and ran to catch up with her. At 13, he was older by 3 years, but not much taller and not much heavier either. His face was just as gaunt as his sister's, but there was a hardness in his features that was absent in hers. His brow was furrowed by a constant frown, and his jaw thrust out, daring the world to hit him. His hands were locked in fists, even when he slept. They worked the streets, stretching out their filthy hands to anyone who passed, dipping them lightly into pockets and purses if they got the chance. Christmas Eve was a time when most folk had some extra warmth in their hearts, but this warmth was directed towards their loved ones in the main, so very little was left over for those who needed it most. By mid-afternoon, Sam and Lizzie had made only enough to buy a very small pie between them, and by that time most people were already heading home, let out early on account of the coming festivities. Tired and still hungry, the 2 children found themselves back on that same piece of inhospitable waste ground opposite the old man's office. A handsome young man walked down the street whistling.